Hey, everything goes. Let's go. Everything goes when the homies hate your personal take. Shakur the tank type of take, it be hurting your rank. Heated debates about who's better between the birds or the Saints. But post games of which digs is really worse than the paint. And John, Ian, and Dan on the pod, future icons. Ian screaming go birds and Dan trying to fight John. A Rockets fan with the Saints from Philly with a python. Cross me and the boy step over him like he Tyron. Eagle season end with a bowl and nobody sober. Let the Saints be the chance and Dan on bourbon and Nola. Everything goes. Place your bets with a take the over. Philly niggas wanna see how red that we gon' make October. At game time is game time. Need your picks and can clutch it. Gave my ticket to John, brought me back with a bucket. CP3 on the assist and Kawhi be getting his touches. But I'm watching Bron cooking my ticket and I'm like fuck it. Let Ian tell it. He gon' say that Bron is the GOAT. Coming back from 3-1 and barely had him a coach. MJ don't got these records so we laughing the most. And I watched it with my own eyes so now I'm back in the host. I get my lines from Dan and lock it in on fantasy picks. Number one in every league, they can't stand me with this. I'm fleecing the league with every trade I dismantle it quick. Wave a wire, watching the pod to help me handle the shit. Legendary status, keep watching, we gon' reach that. But reach too far, my rocket shooting, and I gotta teach that. Fill the gap with a hit stick. Think I don't see that Hall of Fame vision switching from B-Dog to the T-Max. On your wrist, John Dane time and everything froze. Errol Spence washed up then, and everyone knows you can't see. I see 3 when comparing to those, cause every podcast can't handle when everything goes.
Welcome back to Everything Goes. Today I'm in the studio with my man John.
Yo, that intro too groovy, yo. Every time it come on, I'm on it. All whole.
We got my man E in the studio, you mean?
So with y'all back with another episode for y'all. Appreciate y'all for tapping in.
You already know. Before we jump into our games for today, I just want to thank everybody for watching. Those of you that's tapped in now, those of you that are tapped in during the stream, make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe button. And also don't forget to hit that bell, that post notification, so y'all know every time we go on live, because we got some heat coming for you guys. And so we're going to move on, starting with some breaking news today. We got to start with some news that broke a few hours ago, coming out of, the Ravens. Yep. They hired new head coach, Chargers, former DC, Jesse Minter. How y'all feel about this?
They hired who?
Who?
I don't know, cuz I don't know him to feel a way about nothing. I feel like from the outside looking in with minimal knowledge of who this defensive coordinator is outside of his tenure this year in LA, I think that it's a hire in the right direction. In the last 3 to 6 years, the issue in Baltimore has been defense. And the Chargers was a top 5 defense in the league this year in terms of point score and I think yardage. So if he can go in there and turn around, we've talked about them having the pieces to put together a good defensive unit and just not putting everything together. If this defensive-minded head coach can go out there and take care of that side of the ball and let his stars take care of everything else on the offense, and they hire an OC, then it could look upwards for Baltimore. But I still don't know who this cuz is, though.
Got you. How you feel about it, John?
So for me, I had the same thing with Ian. I had to look cuz up. But I will double down on this is a hire in the right direction, and this also comes back full circle to who gets you opportunities, because
Definitely.
even before this past 2 years he was with the Chargers, and then these past 2 years the Chargers had a solid defense. But before that he was in college. But before that, between 2017 and 2020, he was a defensive assistant in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically, although he got an opportunity with the Chargers, they basically hired in-house. Keep it being. Mm-hmm. So hopefully with this, this gives them a new, I don't know, identity, but this may help them get over the hump. Who knows? But shout out to him. Hopefully he's able to get the job done. I mean, this could go really good or really bad, because as soon as he start, drawing, he's like, who is this? Why we hired this nigga? Like, who is this? We should have got somebody off the market that we knew, blah blah. But it is what it is.
So yeah, John, I feel the same exact way that you do. It can go either way, and because he did do a stint in Baltimore from, like you said, was it 2017 to was it 2020 or 19? So he did 2 3 years there in Baltimore. So he kind of know Lamar. That was during Lamar's rookie year or whatever. Even though he was on the defensive side, he was still in the building around all the players. That's my only one concern that I do have, because the reports that we just heard about Lamar that just came out a few weeks ago. Do you want to go and hire a first time head coach that really haven't been in a position where they had to lead a group of men, and you dealing with a diva quarterback? Now, because he do have that experience in Baltimore, we're going to see maybe that play into his favor. I'm pretty sure that's a big reason why they considered him and why they hired him. So hopefully it worked. Well, not hopefully, because I'm not a Ravens fan, but we'll see how it works out for them. I, honestly, yeah, I ain't gonna lie about it. Uh huh. So moving on to some more breaking news in the NBA, we got Jimmy Butler out for the rest of the season with a torn ACL. How y'all think this going to affect the Warriors and just Jimmy Butler moving forward? Period.
Jimmy, I think is cooked. Like, and it's not because he light, but it's because his age. Like Jimmy
Mm-hmm.
36, and it's now January. So let's say Jimmy get back on the court. Now we have the accelerated ACL programs now, but or Achilles programs now. So he's on the court 9, 10 months later. But
Mm-hmm.
he come back off of this major injury at 37. He already wasn't really, the same kind of Jimmy that we seen. Like he'll muster it up every once in a while, but playoff Jimmy is a thing of the past. Like even in the past 2 years, getting in the playoffs, we don't get that playoff spark like we used to. So
No.
I feel bad because it's like you tear your jaw against the team that you had just got out of because they was kind of playing with you. It's like you go back and you try to get your lick back on them, and then you tear your like that's too joint. I feel bad for him. And a main player, with the Warriors are really weren't going somewhere as far as competing, but now I
This
definitely think
year.
with the Warriors, it's with the Warriors. Like we gotta. I think really Steph. It's like, all right, what am I doing here? Like I'm average. Steph almost averaging 30. Like he averaged 27. It's 27, 6 and 6 right now. He still can compete at a high level, championship level. At least for him, it's like okay, like our young guys not really doing what we need them to do. We don't really have no pieces to be a championship contender. I look at it as Steph is like, okay, what am I doing here? Like, am I staying in the beta, basically waste out the last couple years of my prime, not even prime, but of my championship caliber play, or am I gonna try to, yeah, like, or am I gonna try to, make some shake and possibly go somewhere else so I can have a chance to compete with it for a chip? Because now, like I said, even with Jimmy, they already weren't competing, but now just make it even worse. They might make a move at the trade deadline, but they going nowhere fast, bro. So yeah.
Got you. What about you? How you feel about it?
I feel along the same lines of what John's saying. Like I feel the most for Jimmy, and I'm not even a Jimmy fan per se. But like he said, he is approaching the end of his career. Outside of that, I think that there's more good to come from this injury than bad. Because we had a conversation at the beginning of the basketball season. Nobody had stock in the Warriors.
No.
We called them pretenders from week 1, and then week 5 again, and then week whatever we on now. Um, we see what they doing right now with Kaminga, and it's just like they front office, everybody that's in charge of any kind of personnel right now seems to
Mm-hmm.
be in shambles. But we've also heard a lot of rumbling with other teams and other players and other organizations that are not necessarily satisfied with the trajectory that they're on currently. Like John said, in terms of Steph, what are you doing? But I think Steph is a Tim Duncan kind of player. I think he gonna ride like he been there 17, 18 years. I don't think that I
Damn.
think he's a guy like Kobe or like Brian that's like they want to compete for something. They not just hanging around to play basketball just for the sake of it, just because they love the game. They do want to. I mean, they reach that caliber, that status of I'm playing for a championship every year, regardless of who's around me. So I do feel for Steph in that magnitude, but I don't think that he's leaving Golden State. That's a legacy, that's a dynasty that he built. I think he got to wait it out, and he just got to hope that management and people in charge can make some moves. Possibly maybe with Jimmy losing if I mean with Jimmy missing the rest of the season and losing Jimmy, maybe if Steph missed some more time, and not to say like let's go make him miss time, but if he's hurt or stuff like that happens, they don't have that number 2 guy to go to anymore. So maybe they fall in the seedings and they end up with a draft pick right now. This class in this upcoming class looks good. We were talking about recently how they've been fumbling draft picks, when they've been in the top 10 recently, but this class is kind of one that like is going to be hard to miss if you end up with a top 10 pick. I think that's the only hope for the Warriors outside of offseason moves, and I do still think that they can attract players. It might not be youth, it might not be young players, but they can still get talent to Golden State to play next to Steph. A name to be on the lookout for, which I never really thought of having this conversation, and I hope it don't happen. But
Mm-hmm.
realistically, a name to look out for is Bron. He don't got every contract that he signed in the last 3 or 4 years has been 1 to 2 year deals, and then he's adding on extensions. But we just heard about Jeannie Buss and how she feel about him or what she made. Like I don't know what's going on in LA. So if teams like that, teams like the Mavs who feel like they done with AD, if they are willing to, take a risk, take a shot, and Golden State say, okay, well, Steph is 37, so our window was only 2 or 3 years anyway. They can go take a risk at some of these throwaway players who has proven to be skilled and championship caliber, but maybe also only have 2 to 5 years left in the tank. I think that's the only hope, but we'll see what direction they go with it.
Got you. So for me, I'm like y'all first said, I'm upset for Jimmy Butler first thing first because he, like John did point out, he's on the older side. And once he do come back, like I did enjoy watching Jimmy had postseason runs, except for the one that was against the Sixers. I did not enjoy that one. But outside of that, I did enjoy watching. Honestly, I did enjoy watching his postseason runs, and I do feel like even though he was kinda on the decline, we could still see a Jimmy Butler game any given night. Once he come back from this injury, I'm not sure that's going to be the case. He might come back like Chris Middleton the second time around, and now Chris Middleton can't seem to find a home, and everybody just trade him around. So I hope that's not what. Honestly, I hope that's not what happened for Jimmy. But moving on to Golden State, I honestly think that was they end game bringing in Jimmy and pairing him with Steph. I didn't think they had anything further than that. I don't think they can do much further than that. Although they might end up with a top draft pick, like Ian just pointed out. We did have a conversation about this in our private group chat that they last three top 10 picks was bust. Rather, you can say they mishandled them. They still mishandling Jonathan Kuminga as we speak. Moses Moody, is he still on a roster? Is he in the G League? Who roster is he on? He was one of the best scorers and shooters in college, and he get to Golden State and does nothing. James Wiseman, okay, okay, injury got with him, but what's wrong with y'all medical staff? Y'all could ever get him right because we ain't seen a full legit James Wiseman game his whole entire time in the NBA. Where's he at now? So I don't really
Home.
have honestly. So I don't.
Dog.
Although these top five players, maybe top 10, seem like no branders you can't miss. Say they do draft one of them, okay, like y'all just pointed out, Steph is 37. That rookie is not coming in right now and turning Golden State around. I don't believe so. I think the NBA is too talented right now. But like Ian pointed out, Steph Curry is a Tim Duncan type of player. He's not leaving Golden State, whether they win in basketball games or not. He's going to finish out his career there. So I just think the winning is over for them, honestly.
Moody.
Call that my
uh,
man Perk is crazy.
I'm
But
hurt,
so
man.
yeah, we gonna move on to some more breaking news in the NFL. So this one is a lot to unpack here. So the Bills have fired head coach Sean McDermott after their divisional loss in overtime to Denver. In the recent press conference, the owner of the Bills blamed McDermott for drafting Keon Coleman and having other influence in team building over the recent years. That was after an earlier report had came out that McDermott publicly criticized the team and pointed out holes he believed that ultimately stopped them from reaching the Super Bowl. How do y'all feel about all of this?
I think, like you said, it's a lot to unpack. I think it's a layered conversation.
Definitely.
I think McDermott was in the hot seat mid season, and we talked about that as well. I don't
Mhm.
remember if he was on our sideline fumble take at one point in time, but I know you was calling
Mhm.
for a job at a point in time. Um, I think we in a weird era of NFL right now. I think that we in an era where once you have a solidified quarterback, a quarterback that we consider to be the franchise or capable of winning, and you don't win, somebody got to get the blame. And I think that sometimes it falls on the quarterback, and sometimes from the media is one thing, and then in the locker room it's another thing, or in the organization it's another thing. I think that Josh definitely gets credit and deserves credit for some of the loss. But even still, like the fumble before halftime, Doug McDermott said before he go into the locker room, we wanted to be aggressive. He was supposed to protect the ball. He didn't protect the ball. Okay, you had 19 seconds left to go 45 yards, 50 yards to go get a field goal, and you still would have been down how many points? So I think that it's layers to it because I definitely think that he has some flaws as a coach, but I think that any guy that you're bringing in is coming from a situation where they were just fired because like again because who can we blame at this point in time. I think this is more of a culture thing than you are incapable of coaching his team to the promised land, because I think Dayball could come in and do the same things McDermott did and make some of the same mistakes. Um but at the end of the day, I feel like it was time to do it, and clearly they not getting rid of Josh Allen, so something had to change.
Hold on, they hired Dayball. Did I miss that?
No, but
No,
Dayball
Dayball
wants
Oh,
was
the
there
job.
first.
Yeah,
okay,
Dayball wants the job, and that's where he like they talking about. That's where he going next. If not, then he
right,
going to Tennessee. So we'll
right.
see.
Um, I definitely agree with Ian. Like we're in a weird era of football, and I think it stems from. I think we had this conversation on the show. We did the most important position in football of it. Being a quarterback is so much falling on a quarterback's shoulders. Like I think right now it's a weird time because, like my man Ian just said, we're in a carousel. All these coaches are flip flopping, and they all basically getting fired for the same thing. like
Right. Like, what are
having
we talking about? Like y'all
having
getting fired for the same thing, and then all right, yeah, we need him. Like you, like get over here. Like start fresh.
yeah,
What are we
like
talking about?
being like right there on the cusp of winning, not able to get it done. But I think all the stock we have put in quarterbacks and all the money we pay quarterbacks have made it okay to scapegoat coaches, and I think it's kind of a corny era that we in. Like I'm not gonna really get into the whole like double standard of how media and fans and people cover quarterbacks, but you consider. I would probably give more of a lion's share to this loss this past weekend to Josh Allen than Ian might have, but this is not the first time that Josh has been in a playoff game where, yes, he played nice. Like the stat sheet will show he'll throw for 300 yards, he'll run for a touchdown or two, he'll run for 50 yards. But you turn the ball over 4 times. Like
Exactly.
and then you get your coach fired. And this is not the first playoff game that Josh Allen has been in. And granted, he hasn't gotten Sean McDermott fired before, but not the first playoff game that he's played where he looked awesome. But his turnovers is honestly the direct correlation of why his team lost the football game. Like yes, you can have all these stats, but bro, you gave the ball back to them to put points on the board for them 5 times. That can't happen. So I think it is kind of crazy they got him out of here, but like he said, somebody has to take the blame, and it's a lot easier to come up off, a coach that's making just throw a number out there, $10 million a year versus a player that's making 250 million, and you having to justify after you just paid him, and you having to justify coming up off him an MVP caliber of player versus the coach. So I definitely think he'll be successful, you
Hmm.
know, his next venture because he is a good coach. Like I think one of y'all just said it in a group chat, but they call it the Bills dynasty the past since John McDermott been there. They've been second in wins, second in points. I think like third in playoff wins, just
Hmm.
not able to do enough to get over the hump. And like somebody got to take the blame for that. Me personally, I think that's more Josh Allen and Sean McDermott. But somebody got to take the L.
Yeah. So for me, first I am going to address Sean McDermott being fired. So I'm not as torn up about it. Well, not saying that y'all torn up about it, but me personally, I believe he should have been let go 2 seasons ago. So him being let go this season, it was just past due. Although I don't think this playoff
Two
run.
seasons is when Stephon left.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't believe this past postseason run was his fault. But 2 years ago and other postseason runs, he has contributed to their downfall. So I'm not surprised that he is finally gone. The thing that's surprising me and that's getting to me that I really want to talk about is these owners in the NFL, like, what is going on right now?
Yeah, wilding,
They,
bro.
they heard what the Ravens owner said. My man said, I gotta take it up a step. So he told, yeah, he said, I gotta take it up a notch. Going right at Sean McDermott. So who was lying where? Because Sean McDermott, he wouldn't be criticizing the team saying we need this, and this. We're missing this, and this. If he is the one that's telling y'all who to
To do a
draft,
draft, right?
exactly. And you're coming out having this press conference saying that he
He
is
the
the one,
reason why we got these
yeah,
niggas.
saying that he's the one that's influencing the GM to draft all these busts essentially, and so that's the reason why the GM is still there and not him. But now I'm looking at you sideways because as an owner, why would you even want him to still be your GM if he allow a coach to have that much influence over him to continuously, I guess, pick wrong players for the team? Like that don't make no sense. So if whether your version is right or not, it still don't make sense for you to keep him as your GM. Like I don't understand what's going on right there.
And I think we definitely. I'm actually on like it's weird, like what you just said. It's getting so exhausting with these people that don't stay in a lane. Like, bro, if you a GM, you a GM. If you an owner, you an owner. If you a coach, you a
You
coach. Because then it some people are able, like some coaches, maybe yes, they're coaching the team, so they might want to have some say over the personnel. But then every single time it comes back full circle when this coach ends up getting fired. Oh,
they
the
say
coach did this.
exactly,
Oh no, the GM did this. Well, then somebody's lying because y'all just said something else 2 years ago when these players got drafted in the draft. So I don't like we need to get back to coaches being coaches and GMs being GMs. That way, even when it comes, it blow up, you know who you faulting for these rosters because
exactly,
that's what they want to do. Like as soon as somebody get fired or we come up short, everybody want to point the Spider-Man meme. Like everybody pointing at everybody else because so many different people is trying to do so many different jobs. Bro, stick to your job. That's why you get paid for what you do. Because then it just says, oh yeah, this is his fault. He drafted these players. He the coach. Why he drafted anybody?
exactly,
Like,
exactly.
what are we talking about?
Exactly. So for you to even openly admit that as the GM to the owner, that should have got you fired on the spot. But before we, for real though, before we move off of this, I just want to point out one more thing about Sean McDermott. So wait, damn, I done lost train of thought because the GM he really got me angry right now. So we just gonna move on. We just gonna move on. The catcher pass. Our next statement, catcher pass. And the first statement for catcher pass. Well, we gotta take the breaking news down. The first statement for catcher pass this week: Caleb Williams is a franchise QB.
I'm catching.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm catching. I've seen enough in 2 years. I think we could kind of see the potential when he was drafted. Like he went number one for a reason. But I think in his 2 seasons of football, he's shown talent. And I think that talent plus a football mind equals franchise quarterback. And some of the throws that he's able to make right now in year two, he you could argue that he's a top 6 or 7 talent in terms of at the quarterback position in the league right now. Um, I think that's the eye test right now, and his only criticism right now is kind of the Josh Allen effect. Like he can be the reason why you were in the game single handedly, and he can also trying to do some circus stuff and put his cape on. He can also turn the pill over and cost you the game.
Mm-hmm.
But that's intellect, that's development, that's tape, that's film. That's something that we can work on and improve. And I think so far, getting the eye test and some of the throws that he's able to make that other franchise quarterbacks or proven winners can't do right now, he got to be a franchise quarterback. So, like I said, I'm catching.
Got you. Are you, John?
Yeah, I'm catching everything. He passes everything. I mean, he passes the eye test. He passes the stats borderline, and he passes the moments. Like you see in this past playoff, this past playoffs, he just got eliminated. But you see, like he's a playmaker,
Oh,
bro.
you're a
Like
dog. Yeah.
he make plays and he plays for these big moments. And you more times than not, he comes up big. And I just think, you consider franchise quarterback, you got to have a pedigree. Like he got drafted, he's a Heisman. He threw for like 4,500 yards, 45 touchdowns, like 3 picks his Heisman year. Then the year before he got drafted, he was out there running for his life. but he still managed to throw for 4,000 yards, like 13 games, over 35 touchdowns and limited picks. And then you see, like Ian said, you switch it up to I don't even remember the scrub that was coaching them last season, but
Mhm.
damn, oh my god,
Nagy, that was Nagy, right?
was it
Yeah, my
Nagy?
man. Yeah,
Okay,
it
yeah,
was Matt
yeah,
Nagy
yeah.
that
It was
fumbled the
Matt.
games away, not calling
Yeah,
timeouts.
Yeah, got
exactly.
him right out.
So you go rep. So you go from Matt Nagy to Ben Johnson, who had just came off of 2 or 3 seasons of coaching an offensive engine, and then now you followed up this season. He threw for almost 4,000 yards. He was like right there at the cusp, 27 touchdowns and 7 picks, and he looks good. He's making it. He's working on making the layups because that's number one. He still struggles with the layups a little bit because the completion percentage was garbage this year. Being honest, it was like
Hmm.
58. But
Hmm.
he's working on the layups, and you see the big play potential. He can easily get the ball down the field easily, flick of his wrist. So I'm for sure catching. I think as long as he has been really an offensive minded coach, he
Hmm.
can do good things. He can do good things in the NFC and in the league. So
Got you. Before I give my take on it, I'm catching the pass. And for those of you that are watching, please let us know down below if y'all think Caleb Williams is a franchise quarterback. But so for me, I'm catching this one. This was a no-brainer for me. Definitely after watching him play these last two postseason games, even though he did lose this past divisional round, he played well enough to win outside of the pick at the end that is on
that
him.
wasn't even his
Did
fault though.
yeah, but he threw the pick and lost on the game. It is what it is. But before that, he converted that major fourth and goal. That was a great play. What he ran back 15 yards, 20 yards, then threw a dart right in the end zone on the left side of the field. It's only a handful of quarterbacks that can make plays like this, and we see him make these plays consistently, a few a game, not once every now and then. And so I definitely think he's a franchise quarterback. He got the right head coach with Ben Johnson with him, like John just pointed out. And it's definitely better that Ben Johnson he's your head coach, not just your offensive coordinator. He's your head coach because at the end of the day, sometimes the head coach does have final say so, but because he's your head coach, you got 100% of the time to spend and work on that offense with him, and y'all just going to get better as the years progress, and he's just going to get better as a quarterback, and he already shown a lot this past season.
Mm. And you see, like he got his players want to play for him, bro. Like you see,
Yes,
especially after that Packers game, everybody says it's corny and everybody says it's corny and all that, but he in the
yeah,
locker room with his shirt off, talking about the Packers. Like that's
and I'm
yeah.
with it, and I'm with it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
trying to hoop, and
yeah.
you already know Caleb trying to win. I'm not gonna get into the double standard of the media, but I know this going back to college. But when he lost, often he got off the field and he was crying with his mom in the stands, and then everybody said like, "Oh, he a sucker. He gonna be soft and leave. You gotta be hard." But your man Josh Allen just on the stadium crying this past week, and he's oh my god, it's so good a bit. Anyway,
Hmm.
but yeah, you see, he clearly want to win. Like he has his highs and lows. You don't want to get too high and low, but that's what you want out of your franchise quarterback, dog. You want to know that they care and know that they want to win. I don't want nobody that's on some cool shit. Like, and we don't really know if you have a question if you want to win, but you don't show that you want to win or show up to work and with that dog and mentality, like, yeah, I'm trying to win or die, shit like that. So
And what what
No,
what what is there to be mad about a head coach being turned in a locker room after beating a divisional rival and a playoff game?
that's what I
Like
was
what are
that's
we
what I was
talking
trying to
about?
figure out, bro.
no.
What are
So
we talking about?
the reason why they mad is because they supposedly had this little coach hood with because they are from the Deshaun McVay tree, him and LaFleur and a bunch of other guys. So they are supposed to have this brotherhood where it's mutual respect at all times. But at the end of the
No,
day, just because we both
no.
coach under you, don't mean I necessarily like ball. And we
Yeah. And we
smashed
said
y'all
he don't like
previously.
cuz and
We
we know
smashed
he
y'all
don't
previously
like
coming in
cuz.
the playoffs. Man, I'm not under you no more. I'm out.
Yeah,
What
like
you talking about?
Yo,
complaining about the handshake. Like at least he met him at midfield and shook his hand. If that was Brian right to the locker room. I'm not that to
Yeah, I'm the
nobody.
old head coach.
You know
What
what I
you
mean?
mean?
Like
yo,
man, whatever shit I talked in the locker room after you let us win, again, like that go back to the NBA stuff. Like if you
Heavy
don't
on.
want niggas laying the ball up at the end of the game, don't lose. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
and little league, that's cool. That's sportsmanship. Stop shooting. In the NBA, you are grown. Like
Hmm.
forget your feelings, forget how you feel, bro. If you don't want me to lay this ball up, do something about it. And it can't
Exactly.
be after the last buzzer because you mad because I laid the ball up. Like do something about it. He
for
didn't.
So
real.
so moving on to our next statement for catcher pass. CJ Stroud time in Houston is coming sooner rather than. And please let us know how y'all feel about this one. And those of you that's watching, let us know down below if y'all catching or passing.
So, this one was a little hard for me,
Mm-hmm.
but I think emotionally, my emotions drive me to answer this question. But I'm a pass, although I feel like it's really wrong, and I'm a pass just because I feel like the amount of quarterbacks, and I know I shouldn't base it off of comparison, but the amount of quarterbacks that we give grace to in the league and not make passes, but make passes for or give opportunities, or if they so generational, or they just need this, they just need that. I think the same grace goes for CJ because I think he's proven or he's shown that he deserves more opportunities. Like you consider last year was a down year in comparison to his rookie year, but his rookie year and last year he won playoff games. Like he won playoff game his rookie year and he won playoff game last year. And when he was a rookie, his numbers were awesome, and he had a down year this past year. And then this year, you consider circumstance. Like he missed a couple of games, but him himself he went 9-5. But then when he was out, this backup played. They won 3 games that kind of sparked and maintained the winning streak. And that really, I think, that's that recency bias that has people in their minds like, oh yeah, CJ is cooked or CJ is not that good. Well, I think you consider what he's pretty much dealt with since he's been with the Texans. Like his defense now at this point has shown what people call generational. But on the offensive side of the ball, he has Nico Collins, who pretty much he made into who he is. Like we didn't know who Nico Collins was before CJ started throwing him the ball, and his offensive line has been trash, and he has no run game. So I think if you consider all that, like he has shown, at least in my opinion, while I'm passing, he deserves more opportunities. I think, they'll be. I think they'll be patient with CJ. Like I don't think that I would hope that this one year where they had, and it's because they drafted well, this awesome defense that they think next year if CJ Stroud start, I don't know, like he start and just don't look good that we making a switch. Like that's corny. Like and y'all just got on. Like since D'Amico been there, he's turned the franchise around, but that's also part of CJ Stroud. So I'm passing.
Got you. What about you, A?
I'm gonna catch it. I'm gonna catch. I'm gonna catch because, like you said, this is now year 3 of CJ Stroud,
Mm-hmm.
and it's been a consistent decline. I agree with what you're saying in terms of him showing the capabilities of playing the quarterback position, and I also agree that players that have proven that they can play their position deserve grace. But we always had this conversation, like you said, about the quarterback being the most important position on the field, and if it is a skill set thing, if it's something in terms of reads that you're not doing or something like that, we can work on development, developing that. Not to say that you can't develop mental toughness,
Mm-hmm.
but the last 2 games of this playoff outing was a mental meltdown. Those were mental lapses. Some of the stuff was, again, he's shorthanded. He don't got his number one receiver. His running back missed the whole season. His line sucked. Then somebody got hurt during the last game. So again, all of the factors that contributed to him playing bad, absolutely, like they are worth considering. But some plays there's no excuse to make regardless of who out there.
Yeah, the
You
fade
know,
in, but you about to take a sack
yeah,
those
yeah. You
crazy.
feel me? Like certain stuff like that is not, it's not acceptable. And
Mm-hmm.
and I think that a further point of that, like going back to the impact of coaching and how important coaching is in the NFL right now. You just talked about the Texans defense being generational. We also talked about the benefit of Ben Johnson to a Caleb Williams. D'Amico Ryan's paid middle linebacker. He is a defensive like he is a defensive minded head coach, and he's showing that that's what he's good at. They dominated every game for the last maybe 12 games in the NFL season. They dominated. They showed that they are legit and that they are here to stay. But at the end of the day, I don't know if D'Amico Ryans can significantly help develop CJ Stroud. And again, right now, there's not a you can't make these throws. It's a mental thing. Same way I feel like sometimes with Herbo, like you missing throws because you got the antsy and threw the ball too. Like we see the talent. Talent is one thing. The mental toughness and the mental ability to play the quarterback position is another. I feel like what we saw from the defense this year, unless they lose 2, 3, 4 players next year, we're going to expect to see the same of them. And if they are like that from week one, and CJ isn't performing, even if they sneaking wins out like we did this past year, or like they did that first round against Pittsburgh, if he
Hmm.
don't show promise that once we get to the Josh Allen or the Mahomes or the Drake May or whoever we gonna see in the playoffs, if we can't trust that you can not only not lose the game, but you can go win a duel when you gotta go shoot out.
Hmm.
I think we in that again. We in that era of football where somebody got to be to blame, and it's easy to scapegoat the black head coach. Um, but again, he's been, one of the commentators said at the last playoff game he been chasing his rookie year success since then, and he ain't found it. So I think next year is critical for him. And even if they pick up that last option once it's time to pay him, if he don't show nothing worth a check, then they gonna move on from CJ. I think.
Got you. So before I give my take on this, we missed a comment. This when E was going on his rant about at the end of the game he gonna lay the ball regardless. You better do something about it. You know what I mean? But anyways, uh, for me, I'm gonna pass on this one. I think C.J. Stroud will definitely re-sign in Houston, and I think they're gonna give him a long-term contract. And so it's a few reasons why I think that. One, I'm looking at the Trevor situation, and then I also want to bring up Bryce Young and his situation. So I feel like Bryce Young and CJ right now their careers has been the complete opposite. CJ started out hot, and ever since then he's been worse and worse each year. Bryce Young started off bad, and ever since then he's been better and better each year. And you can it's not even an argument. Bryce Young played better than CJ Stroud this season, and he played better than him in the postseason. Period. Point all 17 games plus the postseason, Bryce Young was better than CJ Stroud this season. But he has not been the better quarterback throughout these last 3 years. And I think CJ Stroud rookie year is very important for him, and the fact that he has won a playoff game all 3 years. Yes, he played terrible in both playoff games this season, but last year and the year before that, he was a big reason as to why they won their playoff games. And so I think because of that, and then also his connection with D'Amico Ryans. I know, Ian, you said you think next year is a critical year for D'Amico Ryans. I'm actually going to disagree with that for the simple fact of D'Amico Ryans is a defensive minded head coach. Whoever they DC is not calling and running that defense. It's
For
D'Amico Ryans.
sure. For
So
sure.
exactly, they're not going to take the leader away from that vaunted defense that got a chance to be a generational defense. Like
No,
look at the
critical for
49.
CJ next year, not D'Amico. Critical for CJ next year.
Oh yeah. Next year is definitely critical for CJ, but I do think regardless, he still will be there in Houston. And what I was talking about with Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence, before he got paid, he only had one good season, and the season was iffy. It was just the simple fact that he went and won that one playoff game, and they paid him off of that. Even in that one playoff win, CJ has looked better overall. If you take what now 5 6 of his playoff games in a 3 year span. First of all, it's not many quarterbacks that has been to 5 6 playoff games in 3 years.
Four.
What, 4 years now?
I don't know. This
No,
is year
no,
three.
three. Yeah,
Six,
yeah,
six.
year three.
It's six.
Exactly.
It's six
So
playoff years. Six playoff years.
mhm,
2 years.
yeah. So I feel like CJ Stroud, he got a long way to go, and we do have to give him grace. And I feel as though he earned that grace. And I do think they're going to let him continue to develop because I also think he was a little bit stubborn coming into the league because I don't know if y'all remember this. I think it was like week 5 or week 6 of his rookie year said the NFL is easier than college. Y'all remember he said that?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Exactly. He thought until he jumped into year two, and I told y'all he was gonna be in for a rude awakening in year two, and that happened. And now, boom, you come back year three. The offense hasn't always been the best. That's my last point I do want to make. You gotta give him a complete offense. What I mean by complete offense, both of his wide receivers healthy all year. He's gonna get Tank Dell back and a legit offensive line. You cannot get rid of him without having him for at least one season with a complete offense and see what he can do.
Y'all forgot about that nigga Tank Dell.
And I agree. I didn't, because he been out there hurt every year,
Bro,
right?
right.
I didn't forget about who's on the team, but like again, I don't remember who we was talking about last week, but I was talking when I started talking about Andrew Luck. Like we've seen teams just neglect the quarterback. Like you good enough to go like do something, go figure it out. You mean? And I think that right now, again, in terms of the era of coaching, we got so many DCs or offensive coordinators moving up. Like they move up into that position. I feel like from where I stand, coaches also need development. And coaches are coming into their position and being stubborn. And this is not saying that D'Amico Ryans is not good or that he's not working, he's not trying.
Hmm.
But again, like the difference in year two Caleb versus year three CJ with the same head coach that you had from your rookie season is clear and it's apparent, right? And I also think that as much grace as CJ deserves, like you said, the fact that he looked so good his rookie season and that's where he started, it doesn't help his case. And so it's like if he started at the ground and then he won a playoff game the next year, excuse me, and then this year we thought that he was going to take off and he folded. Okay, cool. We worry about the meltdown, but you've already won 3 or 4 playoff games, like you just said. So it's like, okay, what's next? When you talk about giving grace, you look at other quarterbacks that have been given grace. Josh Allen, when they drafted him, they said he was a project. We're not going to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Where did he end up at? MVP. So it's not that that's enough. That's not the end all be all, but he developed into MVP. Lamar Jackson, where did he start? He's a running back playing quarterback. We didn't believe that he could actually throw the ball. What did that lead to? MVP. Jalen Hurts, when he started playing football, not everybody, and most of the people in Philly was pro him just because they was tired of Carson Wentz. But me, who was watching football, I was not impressed. Even some of the stuff that I pointed out when we started playing him his rookie year when he wore the
Hmm.
number 2, he still does now, but he's gotten grace to improve and develop. But what has he done? The MVP in the Super Bowl, right? And the year before that, he was in the running for MVP. You know what I mean? So it's
The
like
man would have won if he get hurt.
you feel me? So all of these quarterbacks they started from somewhere and it's clear, lateral progressions. Where CJ is starting from, the progression is win another playoff game. Cause you already showed us that you can win a playoff game. And this year you showed us that, or the defense has showed us that you don't have to play great to win a playoff game. So if you can't even play not great, I mean you can't play like not horrible to win a playoff game, again, that's much more pressure on you as opposed to we looking at okay, your receivers ain't creating separation, and this ain't like if that was the situation, if that was the argument, I think we'd be having a different conversation right now. But the amount of like you just put your team in harm's way two
Hmm.
games straight, regardless of if there's an offensive line and what weapons are around you, again, somebody got to get the blame, and we can't blame like. We gonna make excuses, and again, sometimes it's not excuses. It's just football. It's just what happened. But again, this
Hmm.
is a business at the end of the day, and the people up top don't look like us. So regardless of who in his locker room, who coaching him, who on his team next to him, who backing his play and saying, CJ, we got your back. Don't worry about it. Stop overthinking. The people up top don't look like us. And in 2, 3 years, if they still ain't got out the divisional round of the playoffs, I don't know if that man's job is safe.
Got you. I just want to say one last thing before we move off of here. Because D'Amico Ryans came in, when he came in, his first draft pick was C.J. Stroud. I don't think D'Amico Ryans is going nowhere, so I think that's a huge plus for C.J. I don't think D'Amico Ryans is going to let them get rid of C.J. And then number two, it's clear what they need to do: fix the offensive
Facts.
line, bring in receiver help, and hire a good offensive coordinator, and you'll be fine.
Go
And
get
so
Sean.
exactly. So, moving on to our first topic of today, we got some NBA for you guys. Which Western Conference team are you most concerned about currently?
I gotta pick one.
You can give a few, like two, maybe three.
Mm.
Uh, Go ahead, John.
Uh, I am so I'm concerned that my lord. So my answer, my two of my two, I have two teams.
Mm-hmm.
I have two teams. I have the Warriors are one of my teams, but that's because of what just happened to Jimmy. And
Jimmy.
I'll get into that later. But if I have to pick a team right now that I'm worried about, and it will be the Lakers. And I'm gonna say the Lakers because when you look at the standings, for Houston at 4 and all the way down to Minnesota, they have the same record. Like they all have them. Houston, the Lakers, Phoenix, and Minnesota all have 26 and 27 wins. So you can't even say Minnesota, who's technically the seventh seed. Well, I couldn't because they have the same amount of wins. I say the Lakers because I think they're not frauding right now, but
They
they on
are.
they on fraud watch, bro. Like they are very much on fraud watch, and I'm a heavy vibes boy, and the vibes are not thorough in LA right now. Like I think we the conversation of their roster construction has, I believe, been swept under the rug, kind of. Like I feel like I don't hear as much discourse about how light that roster is, and I think it's gonna catch up to them very fast. Like I think at the point in which we get to, they could coast and stay where they at anywhere from the 4 to 7 seed. But I think when the playoffs come around, they are in very big trouble. Like if they have to see at the top of the standings right now, OKC, San Antonio, or Denver, I'm not picking the Lakers against any of those squads, and I quite frankly think that any of those three teams is smacking fire out of the Lakers. So I think they're probably one on my one team because they just don't look good. They just don't look good, and the vibes aren't that high right now. Especially considering on top of that what just happened with Genie, the report that came out with Genie and those that looming over the team, and
Mm-hmm.
you're not your best player anymore. Just keep it being Luka's your best player, but y'all second best player. And I said the words not more so this season, but this season and as a whole, like now, your second, y'all already thin at talent on the team. Your second best player just tore his just leg just fell off, so he's done until until the next season whenever. So you're not competing. Y'all already wasn't competing. Now y'all super cooked. And on top of that, moving forward into the end of this season and the next season, what's the move? Like we need a plan. We need something. Like what are we doing besides wasting one of the 10, 9, 10, 11, 12 best players to ever touch a basketball court latter couple years of his career.
Don't
So,
correct 10. We done with the 90s.
huh?
We don't correct. Don't add 11, 12. We done with the 90s. He
I'm
tapped
just I'm
in.
just I'm just being nice because that's a whole
No,
nother
don't be
conversation.
nice. We done with the 90s.
But yeah, that's why I'm worried about them because of what just happened with Jimmy. But if we just talking strictly from the season, I'm definitely going with the Lakers.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
hold on, but before you go real quick, Ian, I just want to respond real quick to what John said. One, I tried to warn y'all about the Lakers. I told y'all to start the year that the Lakers were super light and all they had was Luca, and Luca was not going to be enough to beat any of the top teams on the West by himself. Y'all tried to sell me AR. Y'all tried to sell me Rui Hachimura
We
as
try
a
to sell you
perimeter
Brian. You
defender.
tripping?
Y'all said Rui Hachimura was a legit perimeter defender. Like, stop. And then I think Ian was like, yeah, you ain't Marcus Smart. No.
You
And
I'm
know,
gonna keep it a beam though, bro. And you see how they play basketball when Marcus Smart and Rui are both on the floor. They are not the problem. The problem is AR and Luca and Bron and DeAndre Ayton. Like
facts.
that
I
is the
told,
source of the issue
yeah,
because
I
we don't
didn't try.
need three guys to combine for 95 points. We need y'all to stop they three guys to combining for 110 points, and that's not happening right now. So it's like we gonna all go out there and score the basketball, but it's only two people. Like when Luca was in Dallas prior to, contrary to like unpopular opinion, they were actually playing great team defense at a point in time. Like
Yes,
Luca got
Yes.
cooked in the finals for sure because it was too many wings that could just attack him and put him in pick and roll play. And also much credit to Joe Mazzulla because he coached his ass off for that series. But outside of that though, the defensive principles that they bought into, and again, they were playing immaculate team defense. And Kyrie Irving was on the floor for some of that too. He's never been a stellar standout defender at any point in his career. Neither has Luca, but they all bought into team defense. Right now is the first time, and I don't know how long, where we can look at the Lakers and say, your coach is not the problem. And as much as people wanted to complain about whatever connections and white privilege and all of that in terms of how JJ got the job with no basketball, no NBA head coaching experience or coaching experience whatsoever, he's proven that he know the game and he can make these adjustments to coach basketball. Y'all didn't
Mm-hmm.
have to buy into it. And we hear multiple reports JJ is coming out and y'all know with me, I'm always keep everything in house, right? But it's certain stuff that is like when y'all asking me the questions, I'm gonna answer the questions how they deserve to be answered sometimes. And I think again, and JJ Redick's point, which I made, in a group chat separate from this before, but I think
Mm-hmm.
that in JJ Redick's case, he got like he's supposed to be saying a lot of the stuff that he's saying. Like, I believe that he's calling them out in practice. We seeing him saying stuff in games and people not responding to it. What do you want me to do? I mean, it's
Exactly.
not like I don't even think it's him protecting his behind. Like, again, with the Doc Rivers and Ben Simmons, I think that was like, Doc, this ain't my fault. I think JJ is trying to use this as a motivation tactic to get his players to buy in, and it's not working. And it's the coach is frustrated, the players, Bron is frustrated, and he's 41. The management, the GMs, the owners, everybody, like John said, the vibes is bad. So it's like the vibes is bad. Nobody want to play defense. We can't outscore everybody in the league. And like John said, they definitely on fraud watch because the teams that they supposed to beat, they go out and win by 30. But the teams that are within 2 or 3 games of them in terms of record wise, the
Mm-hmm.
Suns cooked them recently. I remember who else, somebody beat them by a dub 5 the other day, but then they beat the Hawks by 30. So it's like, I mean, when they clicking, they clicking. When shots is falling, it's immaculate. But when shots not falling, you got Luca with 38. The rest of the starting five is 15 and below, 17 and below, and the 17 is Bron. We ain't seen AR in 10, 15, 20 games, and that matters as well because he does put the ball in the basket. But that's another guy on the floor that we right at. So that's my highlight team for sure in terms of a team that is cause for concern right now. I think
Mm-hmm.
there are moves that they can make. They can put there's packages that they can put together. It's not one player that's going to make a difference, but they gotta get the Dorian Finney-Smith kind of guys back onto their roster. Somebody that's going to buy into the grittiness and to the defensive side of the ball. My second team, that I would, it's not major concern, um, but they deserve like honorable mention is Houston. Um, I think right now the difference between them and the Lakers, one is they have buy-in on the defensive side of the ball. That's one. And two, I think that regardless of what the product is on the court on a night to night basis, the vibes are immaculate in Houston. I think that um, everything right now in Houston that is going wrong, that looks not wrong, is this is KD's first year here. This is Reed Shepard first year incorporated into the offense. This is Amin Thompson first year probably ever playing point guard. It's so many first years or first times for Houston right now that is they got to figure it out. But with all of that said, they still the 4 seed right now. I just think that considering that Jokic has already missed 10, however many games, there's no way that the Thunder is still the 3 seed right now. And we watching Houston. I don't remember who they got cooked by, but within the last 2 weeks, I know you saw it. I seen a 20-point loss, and I'm like, how is this happening? What is happening right now? I
Mm-hmm.
don't think it's nothing like Houston won't be ready by the playoffs. I think that's a real possibility for the Lakers. So I don't think Houston is like let's panic, but I think that they got to figure out roles and what everybody is about to get into moving forward. They actually, my TV screen behind the laptop, they're actually trying to trick this game away to the Sixers right now, who would be my team in the Eastern that I'm in the Eastern Conference that I'm concerned with, but that's not what we talking about today. So
And the L you talk about was to the Kings. They got
yeah,
bombed by
come
the
on,
Kings.
bro, come on, bro.
Exactly.
Like,
That's drawn.
So Ian, I guess we all on one accord right now. So, John, you had the Lakers, and you had the Lakers. Your second team was the Rockets, and I got the Rockets. That's who I'm concerned about right now. Although we are the fourth seed, like Ian just pointed out, we lost to the Blazers. We had back-to-back losses to the Blazers. We lost to the Kings. We lost to the Mavs. That's four teams.
yo, I was watching that, Joe, and I said, no, that's what I was talking about, not the Kings. I was talking about
That
the Mavs. I don't care if y'all lost
that's
by
four
6. No
teams.
way,
Yes,
no
that's four
way.
teams in the span of 7 days that you
You
had no business losing to. I don't care who out there. I don't care if Shingun not playing tonight. I don't care if Tari Easton not playing tonight. I don't care. Those are 4 games you should not lose. That is unacceptable. But the few bright spots that I do want to point out, Reece Shepard, he has been looking great, and he's scoring the ball when we need him to. He's showing that he can be clutch, and he can
Man, that
be a
shit
guy.
talented.
Yeah, and he can be another guy that we can count on down at crunch time to get buckets. Not just a Kevin Durant, not just a Şengün. That's the second guy that I want to mention. Şengün is carrying his clutchness from the postseason last year, scoring last second buckets and et cetera, et cetera. He's still doing that this season. He just did it last night in the not last night, 2 nights ago in the comeback win against the Spurs, and when they shut down Wemby, him, Kevin Durant, and Josh Okogie was Wemby primary defenders, and that was a hard fought game. And Reed Shepard showed up big time in the fourth quarter, and so not just that Spurs win, we are on a 3 game winning streak after losing those 4 terrible games. So it do seem like we're turning it around. And like Ian pointed out, it's a bunch of first times for a lot of guys. So I do think we will have it figured out come postseason. But I'm just me being a Rockets fan. You're not going to trade away Jalen Green and then struggle during the regular season. That's unacceptable. Y'all told us that Kevin Durant was the answer and that it would be no struggle. So now I want to see it.
The
Yeah,
fun,
they
the,
still need to call Chris Paul. Simple.
the funny part is, I just remembered who was the boy that was complaining about my man Denny on the Blazers about his whistle when your team did.
Tari Eason.
Oh my, yeah.
Yeah, and then he came spun back and dropped 40 in the first time y'all played them niggas.
I heard. No,
And
no,
then they
but
gave y'all a belt like 3 days later again.
no,
How-
but shout out Tari Easton though. He one of the dogs on the team, and he does do a
Bro,
lot of talking. Most of the time, he back it up though. He definitely got that Dylan Brooks energy. So
not
yeah,
that night. He got
Nah.
that.
that's Dylan Brooks in Memphis with Brian energy. You feel me?
all right, you mean that was probably that moment. It's cool. He passed it though. He hooping. It is what it
Hey
is.
Dan,
Yeah.
do you think that Fred is proud of Reed right now, or he's scared for his job?
No, he's fine. Fred Fleet is fine. First of all, outside of Dylan Brooks, I probably think Fred is probably the second closest player to Ime Udoka. So as long as Ime is there, Fred's job is safe. Whether he's going to come back next year and be our starting point guard or go back to kind of his 6 man role that he was playing in Toronto, where at the end of the game he's in the game, but he's not starting the game type of feel. That may be the route that we take next year. But his job is fine. Fred not going nowhere.
Okay.
Yeah, so moving on to our last topic of today, we got some more NBA for you guys with the All-Star starters just getting announced. We got a little rundown. We got so the first question pertaining to the All-Star starters. One, do you agree with the starters? And so the 10 starters, you got Jalen Bronson, Cade Cunningham, Jalen Brown, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and Tyrese Maxey. That's on the East. On the West, you got Luka, Shea, Steph, Wemby, and Jokic. How y'all feel about it?
I like it. I think they got it. I think they got it right. This first time I think I can remember they got it right, and I'm just fully chilling. I think the only reserve that I have, and this because it's a toss up because of how loved he is by the fans. Anthony, like I think if you ask me, I would swap Ant with Steph because Ant is having a slightly better season than Steph. I mean, he's averaging a bucket more, and his efficiency is just a little bit better. And on the defensive side of the ball, Ant is playing defense. But like I said, it's a toss up because it's fan votes, and it's not like Ant is just pooping on Steph as far as stats is concerned. That would probably be the only one I would say, and Donnie in the East. But I'm not taking Donovan Mitchell over Tyrese or Cade or Brunson. Truthfully, not at all. So I think they definitely got it right. Like this is a solid 10, and I'm glad that it is right. So
Yeah, I
Gotcha. What
think
about you?
I'll go 9 out of 10, and the one that's off is the one that John said. I don't think that's a I don't think that's a debate though. I'm angry about that. Like not like I'm willing to write a report or write a letter to Adam Silver, but I don't think man, it's not an Adam Silver thing. But I don't think there's any argument outside of him being loved by the fans that you can make for Steph over Ant right now. They seated
Mm-hmm.
at whatever he's missed, however many games. Ant is in the playoff picture right now. I think they the 6 or 7 seed, but they
Mm-hmm.
winning games right now. Like he said, he's playing both sides of the ball. Steph could really never relate in his career. Um, and like I said, he's winning. So and it's not like Steph is not going to make the All Star team. Nobody's complaining. Granted, Brian averages and his numbers are down. He scored under 8 points for the first time in however many games this year, but like ain't nobody complaining about Bron not being an all-star starter this year. Steph could go be a reserve at 38 years old, you know what I mean? So that's my only complaint.
Hmm.
I also don't like, which I said before, I don't like the front court and back court aspect of fan voting and how they determine starters. Because there's
Hmm.
no way that you got 3 point guards, Jalen Brown, and then Giannis in the East, and then in the West you got Wemby, Jokic, Shea, Luca, and Steph. Um, Luca is he kind of came into the league as a forward, and then they like, yeah, you got the ball every play. Um, but nah, outside of that, I don't really got no complaints. I'm cool with the nine that they picked. They've been hooping.
Gotcha. So for me, I think we are unanimous on this one. I do agree with the non-starters, but I got two things that I do want to talk about. One, I do want to point out Steph. I don't think he should be starting. I do think that he's only starting because of obviously he's a fan favorite. One of the not one of he is the greatest shooter of all time. It is what it is. The fans want to see him. They're going to start him in the All Star game. But I do think it's two players that's deserving to possibly start over Steph. One being Ant, who is right now averaging 30 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. You got Steph that's at 27, 4 and 5. And is also playing defense. His team also has a better record, and he's in the playoff picture. So I don't really understand that one. The second one that I'm going to say should also be starting over Steph is KD. A lot of people haven't really looked at KD this year, but like we just pointed out, the Rockets are the 4 seed. KD is averaging 26, 5 and 5, and this is probably one of his best defensive seasons in a long time. And he's at the later end of his career, but he's going out there and he's guarding some nights the best player or the second best player every single night. So I don't.
Yeah.
I'm kind of questioning why it's not Ant or KD, but it is what it is. And the second thing I do want to point out that I'm surprised neither one of you guys pointed out is I'm not mad that they're starting. I do think that obviously Jokic, Wemby, and Giannis should rightfully so be starting. But now it comes into question like what agenda is the NBA pushing right now? Do the 65 games matter? Or not, because now you're about to tell me that these three guys are going to start in the All-Star game, so we know that they're top 10 players in the league. But then when the All NBA list come out at the end of the season, none of the three is going to be on it. Because if you're looking at games played, Wemby right now only played 30 games. Giannis played 29 games, and Jokic played 32 games, and we're 46 games into the end of the season already. They missed damn near 30 to 33% of the season already.
I mean, even with that though, that's still above that. Like 65 games is what percentage out of 82? I think that's a happy medium. I do understand what you saying and where you coming from. I don't like when like I think last year Brian made the All Star game and then he came out to the intros in a suit at the end and he wasn't
Yeah,
hooping like
Yeah. That's
why?
nice.
You mean like
That's
I
nice.
don't like that. I don't like that. Like Jokic, if he make the All Star game and he show up and he play 2 minutes and then he sit down because he fresh off an injury, I'm cool with that. Let somebody else go have fun. Let somebody. I mean, he don't care anyway. He rather be at home
hmm
during All Star break with his horses and stuff. But I'm not mad again. Like Wemby, if you playing all of them, like you said, they play 30. Let's say they play 30 out of 45 games. That's like you said, that's 2/3 of the game right now. And with that, the impact and numbers that they putting up, absolutely like who we putting over Giannis in the East right now? Cat. You mean
Yeah,
like what
Let's be
what
fair.
like what's the argument? If it was something like that, like if this was a Maxi or Mitch thing, and Maxi played 30 games averaging 30 and Mitch played 45 averaging 30, then I'm with you. Let's give it to Mitch. But again, in the West, like maybe Sengun could take, one of these spots.
but
Because he
no,
out
that's
there
the
hooping for sure.
no, that's
But
the thing though. I don't think nobody should take their spots. They should be rightfully so starting. What I'm saying is going to lack consistency.
okay.
Because if they're going to start in the All Star game, that's telling us they're a top 10 player. But then if one of them, because the likelihood right now with all of them missing time, if not two of them, one of them is not going to be on the All NBA team because they're not going to play 65 games. But then you're going to tell me he's a top 10 player because he's starting in the All Star game. So why is he not on the All NBA team because he didn't play 65 games like y'all was pointing out a few weeks ago? It's just all about consistency.
True.
So yeah. moving on to our next statement about the All Star game. Do y'all agree with the starting matchups? Ian kind of alluded to it, so I'll let you start first. Right now, with it'll be Team World versus Team USA, and for Team World, you'll have Shea, Luca, Giannis, Wemby, and Jokic. Versus Team USA, that'll be Jalen Bronson, Steph, Maxi, Cade, and Jalen Brown.
First of all, disclaimer: y'all just got the belt in OT. They
Mm,
showed me before OT started that y'all are 1-4 or 1-3 in OT games. So
that's
that's
disgusting.
yeah, that's more concern. Y'all got finished games. Um, the US is cooked. We we about to get belt. We don't got no bigs. I don't think Cat from here either. He from DR. I don't know who we got playing center for us on this side of the ball.
Bam, you
Um,
mean?
you might as well throw Asia out there too. But like I said, like you said, I alluded to. I don't like the setup right now. I don't like the voting for front court and back court. It's too broad. It's too like not specific right now. And I think that yeah, like there's fun to this game. It's not a game that we got to take super serious. And
Mm,
basketball in 2026 at times can be positionless, but we've also seen in the last 2 3 years like the return, the uprising of the big man in the NBA. And I think that even if we go away from that right in the East, I told you we got
mm,
3 point guards starting. And
crazy.
then there's going to be point guards on the bench as well.
Bench.
There should be 2 or 3 slots per, like if we count in 15 all stars, I think it's 5 starters and 9 reserves. So it might be 8 reserves, so that's 13 slots. It should be two per position, and then 3 that's just undeniable. Like, okay, cool, you didn't get that 1 or 2 slot as the first or best, or second best guy in your conference for the voting. A part of it is
Mm,
you understand.
hey, hold on. Hey, John, is it cutting it out for you too, or was
Yeah.
that just me?
No, it's him. It's the same.
Okay, yeah, hold on. Yeah. Your audio was choppy a little bit. We couldn't really hear the last. I think was it what 10, 15 seconds of what you were saying.
Hmm.
But yeah, I definitely agree with you. What you think about it, John?
I think the same. I definitely agree with everything Ian said. USA is cooked, and that goes into a broader aspect of USA basketball versus world basketball.